Welcome to Hello Malaysia. I am your host, Surati Sanusi, and today it's quite interesting topic that we're talking about. We are talking about breastfeeding, and in the studio I have Rita Rahayu Omar, and she is the lactation consultant from the SusuIbu.com, and also Dr. Ezura Madiana Monoto. She is also a lactation consultant, but she is a family medicine specialist from Pusat Perubatan University Kebangsaan Malaysia. Welcome to the show.
Thank you.
Thank you for inviting us.
Thank you. So how are you guys? I mean, I know it's a few weeks from we had Raya before. So how was your Raya?
Oh, fantastic.
Raya,
Raya is time for eating and meeting families.
Right.
Yeah.
So you had a blast for Raya.
It's mostly for kids.
Right. So let's talk about breastfeeding. Now, I may sound a little bit out of this topic because one, I do not have any children, so I'm not really sure. But obviously, information is very important. Now, before we start talking about breastfeeding, we need to know about how we have milk coming out from the breast, and probably Dr. Ezura could start with that.
Right. Our body is actually very unique. When a mother or a woman is pregnant, the body is actually started producing and preparing for what is coming out later, which is a baby. So during the pregnancy process, our breast is actually developing and trying to prepare itself for breastfeeding the baby when the baby is born later.
Right.
So you'll see changes.
Okay.
Yeah, changes. Okay.
What kind of changes?
Changes in size to begin with.
Okay.
So you need to see that change because if you don't see a change or you don't see a development, breast development, then that is a cause for concern, and you probably need to speak to a lactation consultant to have it assessed.
Right.
Because for us, those would be the red flags that we would look into. Because then, if you detect it early, then we can make recommendations on what you can do.
Okay.
The mistake that most, I think,
mothers
do is that they think that breast is something private. But if you go to Klinik Kesihatan, right, Izu, they do a thorough check.
Including breast examination.
Okay.
But that doesn't really necessarily happen if it's in a private clinic.
Right.
So they actually tend to miss that bit.
Okay.
What happens is that when the mother gives birth and we realize that there wasn't
a problem.
There wasn't breast, the development, the changes didn't occur during pregnancy.
Right.
Then obviously there will be problems
later
to breastfeed.
Right. So you've spoken of this lactation consultant. Now, what is lactation consultant? Obviously we know the word lactation, but I never knew there could be a lactation consultant.
Expert
in
breastfeeding.
Breastfeeding?
Yeah. You need to have a lactation consultant. Why on earth?
Right. What's the importance of having or being a lactation consultant or having a lactation consultant?
It's a profession.
Yes, it is a profession. In Malaysia, we have about 23 of lactation consultant. Yes.
Around Malaysia, there's only 23. This is certified,
Yes.
Certified lactation consultant, and each of us carry the title International Board of Certified Lactation Consultant.
Okay.
IBCLC.
Okay.
Yeah. To become a lactation consultant, one have to undergo a series of lactation education for about 90 hours.
Right.
Yeah, by attending courses or online courses of seminars regarding lactation management.
Right.
And then you have to sit for the exam.
Right. Yeah. Is it only available for mothers or someone who, like myself, doesn't have any children? Can I just go and
anyone can sit for the exam
with interest?
Anyone who has interest, to begin with.
Right.
And it doesn't matter if you're a man, because we do have IBCLCs who are men.
Certified men.
And you'd be surprised too that one of the it's not one, many of the famous lactation consultants in the world are men.
Right.
Like, for example, he's my mentor, Dr. Jack Newman.
Okay.
He's a man.
Right.
He's a very famous and he's a pediatrician.
Canada,
I see. Now, going back to breastfeeding, we'll start with from the very beginning. We've explained about how milk is produced from breast and things like that. So once you deliver, so what happened to the breasts?
All right. During pregnancy itself, our hormones are doing its wonderful job to prepare the breast, and actually by third trimester, if a mother realizes she actually has started producing some sort of milk, which we call colostrum, which is the early milk, and it is very precious to feed the baby with that colostrum.
Why?
Colostrum is known to have properties, very wonderful properties to protect the baby guts, to prevent it from bacterial infection to come in. And then it is only for 3-4 days the colostrum will be there. Before the mature milk comes in.
I see.
Yeah, so it is very precious to
it's
to
precious
give.
to the point that we actually nickname it liquid gold. Because it's yellowish.
I see.
So if you are in your third trimester, and like Ezura was saying, that some mothers would notice that if they were to kind of like express a little bit,
you'll see some.
They'll see like this liquid, like yellowish liquid. Some mothers, especially first-time mothers, they sort of panic because oh, what is this yellowish thing? This is nana,
and I was told sometimes they said you just press it out, just clean it out until you see a clear milk coming out.
You don't clear it out because first of all, it's not something that's bad. Because you would have these are all valuable sales, right? They say that, oh, this is susu kotor that you need to get rid of.
That's what I heard.
But actually, on the contrary, it's very precious. You do not get rid of that. You need it.
Feed the baby with it.
Because it would provide that protective layer, that lining to the intestinal baby's digestive system and the gut. So it's like you have a layer of protection for the baby, because that would be your baby's first immunization, which is your breast milk. It's rich with IgG, IgA, and which is why we always, it's not just we. It's basically the World Health Organization recommends that you exclusively breastfeed for the first 6 months. No water, no supplements, no food, nothing.
Just milk.
Just milk. Why? Because if you imagine the body having that protective layer from your milk, and then all of a sudden you
changed it.
You actually give them
water.
plain water. What happens to it? What happens is it goes in and it just washes off that protective layer. So it's just going to be washed off. You have that special weather bond coating, and you want to wash it off.
But especially being Malay, they will say give your baby some water, because she or he will look hydrated.
To wash the tongue, they say.
They would say that. But what do you think, Doctor?
The composition of breast milk actually changes with what the baby needs.
Really?
Yes.
Baby's age.
Baby's age. The baby's need, the weather. Probably in Malaysia, most of us the mothers who produces milk will have just nice, because of the humid weather here, just enough water, and also what we call milk as the food for the baby.
I see.
It's already 80% water to begin with. So that is the water. So if people say, well, I need to give my baby water because otherwise he's going to be dehydrated, thirsty, and then, you need to wash off the tongue. It's hot. If it's hot, then you breastfeed more.
And I think both of you are mothers, if I'm not mistaken. Do you do that? Have you tried that for the first 6 months? You gave nothing but breast milk.
From my experience during my first baby, of course, when the elderly say you need to give
some water,
some water to wash off the white tongue, all right,
you just gave some water
occasionally, but then through reading, and then when I met up with other mothers, and also at that time Rita was already into this lactation world, so then I got to know, it's not necessary to give water. And then my practice changed with the subsequent babies. So then I started practice nothing else.
Water,
nothing
the first
else
6 months.
except breast milk.
Okay,
yes.
do you see any changes? Do you see like the baby is a little bit hydrated or a little bit thirsty and things like that?
All right. Actually, no, because we breastfeed according to the demand of the baby.
Right.
All right.
Okay.
Sometimes when the baby wants it every hour, okay, so I give it every hour.
Okay.
All right. But sometimes after 1 month or 2 months of birth, the baby starts to regulate already.
Okay.
The needs of having when that he
when
wants to
they're
feed.
hungry and things like
Yes,
that.
you're right.
Okay. And as for you, you've done it
Definitely.
through all your children and things
I
like
have
that?
4.
Okay.
And my eldest is now 14. So when I first started out, I have to confess it was a challenge because it was my first child, and I had to go through an emergency C-section.
Okay.
Going through that alone was a challenging experience. So for me, at that point, breastfeeding was really not at the top list of my not at the top of my priority list.
Okay.
I was not a happy camper, so to speak. But what I learned in a span of like 2 months, I think that was a turning point for me, because and that was actually the reason why I decided to do what I'm doing today.
Right.
Because of my own personal experience, I went through that. I felt that I didn't want another woman to have to
feel
experience
that way.
and I know and I'm sure that there are many out there, and at the time, this was back in 2001, at the time when breastfeeding support was well, there was not much
information.
available. Information. It was, all of it was available online.
Right.
And whatever support group that they had in Malaysia, which I knew,
I think it's very minor.
It was silos,
Right.
and I didn't know where to find them.
Okay.
And then I searched the internet, and they said, oh, IBCLCs, and in Malaysia at the time there was only like 4.
Right.
And in KL there was only 1 that I could access.
Okay.
So yeah, it was challenging.
Right. So you took upon the responsibility
did.
to convey the message. Now.
Well, yes. So from that experience of mine, I decided, no, this shouldn't be the case.
Right.
You know, Malaysia needs to have this kind of support. And at that time, I saw, there were a lot of people who didn't really see the awareness on breastfeeding wasn't there.
Right.
Now, I would say that breastfeeding is pretty much in the
Common.
mainstream.
Yeah. Right. And speaking of the breastfeeding for 6 months, I mean, nothing but just milk. So after 6 months, you are allowed to give some water.
Oh, you have
milk?
to.
Yes.
Yeah. Right.
We actually start complimentary feeding to the babies after 6 months, which can be a sort of puree, vegetable purees, fruit purees before they start off with the rice or porridge. Yeah.
Right.
Okay. But then breastfeeding can still be continued.
Okay.
Okay. As recommended by WHO and UNICEF, breastfeeding should be continued up to 2 years and beyond.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right.
Right.
And beyond, that's very important.
Right. Okay. So when the baby already starts eating, okay, usually we can still give breastfeeding according to the demands of the baby.
Right.
Yeah. And the main source of nutrients comes from the food. Yeah, family food.
Right.
Yeah, but as like the baby at 6 months can already be seated.
Yes.
On her own. Yeah, right. And actually, it's interesting to see how the baby actually, who is ready to start the next stage. Yeah, to start eating. Okay, they
would have those skills.
Yeah, the skills, be interested in
food.
In food.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay, you can see the lips smacking, the hands started reaching.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right. So
they have interest. They start to show interest in whatever that you eat.
Right.
You see that every time you pop something in your mouth,
they want some of it as well.
Yeah.
Right.
They start grabbing the food that's in front of them.
And at the same time, breastfeeding is also encouraged to give.
Basically, what happens is this, Sue. 6 months of exclusive breastfeeding, and the reason that is because 100% of the baby's energy requirements are fulfilled
from the breast milk. Okay.
But after 6 months, now this is statistically speaking and scientifically speaking, the energy requirement of the baby cannot be fully fulfilled by the breast milk, and there's an energy gap which needs to be fulfilled. So that energy gap is fulfilled by the food.
Other food.
So we say it's complementary food, but then breastfeeding still takes.
So breastfeeding is still priority. So other foods will be just a supplement.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
right.
And this goes on for a year. And well, yeah, because eventually the baby's going to start eating whatever you eat, which is table food. Whatever table food you serve them.
Right.
And I'm actually a firm believer that breastfeeding babies should be baby-led wean, meaning they should be given food and let them learn how to feed themselves.
I see.
Rather than give them puree, so that they explore the texture of the food, the taste and stuff.
I see. Right, okay, we have to go for a short break, and when we come back we'll talk more on breastfeeding right here on Hello. Stay tuned. And welcome back to Hello Malaysia. We are celebrating the World Breastfeeding Week, which falls every 1st to 7th August of every year. Am I right?
Yes, that's
right.
First week of August.
Right, and we have Dr. Ezura and Rita from, and they're both lactation consultants, and we are here to educate mothers out there or newly mothers out there about breastfeeding. Now, we've talked about how how milk is produced and things like that. So now we would like to know, how do you feed your baby, especially for newly mothers out there, or from myself who doesn't have any baby, who would like to know, because I would not know the correct way of doing, because I've seen so many ways people doing it. They will just carry it in one hand, holding it, both hands, and look very fragile and things like that. Probably you can show the way. We have a baby here.
Yeah, we have a very compliant baby.
he's ever willing. He's ready to receive breast milk right now. So probably,
so the question is,
yes,
does the mother need help in breastfeeding? And the answer is
do they need help?
Yes.
Really?
Yes.
In what way?
Some people say that breastfeeding is so natural.
Yeah, they said
once
just
the
put
baby
the baby at your breast and they start feeding.
Yeah, right. For some mothers, yes, it is natural for them.
Right.
Okay, maybe they don't need much help from others. Yeah,
right.
But for me, I have 3 children. Yeah. Every baby has different challenges, right? Okay.
And preferences as well, I'm guessing.
And for new mothers, I think it is best for them to read and to learn about how to breastfeed your baby.
Okay. There will be such technique to do it, yeah?
Yes. Okay.
It's just not getting the baby up to your breast and start feeding, no.
Well, the first step is to get the baby
close
to
you.
breast,
Okay,
right? So if you get this compliant baby right here, who is very good, doesn't cry,
right, doesn't cry.
So if I can show you, you can see that the baby's mouth is perfect,
right,
to show how big baby's mouth should open.
Okay.
And you have all sorts of styles, how babies, we call them a baby that's what do you call it, eager baby, or the
eager or hungry baby,
okay, or
right.
So there's all sorts of baby, but I don't like to label babies because babies are babies,
right?
And you have to understand that, like us, they are trying to learn as well. So you are the mother.
Okay.
So this has to be a partnership. So mother needs to learn the skills, the techniques, and so that baby can also learn.
Okay.
So now,
so it's a learning process for both of you.
It is a learning process, and it takes 2 to tango.
Okay.
And now, talking about learning, you'll say, okay, how do you learn about breastfeeding? There are classes, Sue. There are breastfeeding classes. We call them breastfeeding preparation classes.
Here in Malaysia?
Yes.
Oh, I've never heard of that
even
before.
In our
SusuIbu.com, we have that.
Okay.
Even in our clinic kesihatan, or at any obstetric and gynecology clinic, when the mother attends their follow-up,
the classes,
they have breastfeeding talks, and breastfeeding classes as well.
Okay.
So mother should take the opportunity
to
learn and listen to the talk, so that they have some sort
knowledge.
of idea, before the baby arrives, and usually after the baby is
so they won't get nervous in doing this.
The problem is a lot of families, I'd say, parents, when they get pregnant, they focus too much on the delivery bit, aspects, and they miss out on breastfeeding.
Okay.
So when breastfeeding challenges happen, they're like, oh, hang on, is it supposed to be this hard?
Okay. And is it hard? The way it sounds like, it looks like it's hard.
Everybody has different sets of challenges, okay? And you have to take them as you go along, but then you need to know to begin with whether are you
doing it correctly.
Are you having a challenge to begin with? Some people don't know that they're having a problem.
Yeah.
Oh, everything's fine. It should be fine, but then you're bleeding and
and you have nipple pain and everything.
We'll talk about all this issue later because I know there's a lot of issues on breastfeeding.
So coming back to the baby.
Yes.
So we've got this baby right here, and then you're thinking, okay, I mean, I've got my baby.
Right.
I don't know how to hold the baby.
Right.
So when you're breastfeeding, how you hold your baby and how the baby is positioned is very important.
Okay.
Because correct positioning leads to correct latching.
Okay.
Incorrect positioning leads to improper latch, and when that happens, you basically will not get a pleasant experience because when the baby is not latched on properly, you will find that the baby's latch will be a shallow latch, and when it's shallow latch, then they tend to actually cause pain
on the nipple.
On the nipple.
Right.
And at the same time, when the latching is not correct, the milk transfer won't be effective.
Right.
So the baby won't get
enough
milk. And subsequently the mother will have less milk supply and
it affects that way.
The milk supply.
Okay,
so
right.
So
it connects.
Yes.
Okay.
So it's chain reaction. So positioning, the baby has to be aligned.
Right.
Tummy
Head
to tummy. Yeah. Tummy to tummy. So when you're holding your baby, how you hold your baby. We try not to dictate the mother. We need to make sure that the mother is comfortable.
Okay.
So what's important is the baby has to be aligned, and the baby's tummy has to touch the mom's tummy. So it's tummy to tummy.
Okay.
Head, shoulders, whole body, and the legs has to be aligned.
Right.
And when you're holding your baby, I mean, it has to be at the breast level. And when you're bringing the baby to you, it has to be baby to the breast and not breast to the baby. So sometimes we have mothers who actually slouch.
Yes, they do.
They do that, but it's actually you should be sitting straight, comfortably. Take the baby, and then the nipple, because babies don't nipple feed, they breastfeed.
Okay, so they took the whole lot of the breast.
So they're just, if it's a shallow latch, then it's definitely nipple feeding.
Okay,
and that's where
that's when you get some problems.
That's when they experience, the mother actually experiences nipple soreness, and then
some bleeding probably.
Yeah, if it aggravates to that, because they keep on doing it every time they're feeding. So from soreness leads to injury, so it becomes cracked and it bleeds.
Wow. It sounds painful.
It is painful.
It is painful.
So basically so do we have to only breastfeed it while sitting down? I've seen some mother sleeping and breastfeed it while sleeping.
Especially when the mother after C-section.
They can't really move around.
It's very uncomfortable for them, painful for them to sit down and breastfeed the baby. The position, the baby can be breastfed while they are lying.
Okay.
The mother lying on the bed, upright.
It doesn't look good.
We call it biological
nurturing.
But you'll see some, especially mothers and mother-in-laws. They say, don't do that to your baby. They can't breathe.
The nose will get blocked.
And the milk will come up from the nose and things like that.
All right.
So it doesn't really.
No, it doesn't.
This is one of the best
ways to do it. Okay. So basically,
usually the head of the bed is a little bit propped up. Okay. So the mother is comfortable. Okay. Because most of the time after C-section, the mother cannot move side to side or even sitting down. So the mother needs help to position the baby on top of her.
Okay.
Yeah. All right. And then sometimes they need some protection here because of the wound. They can put some towel or pillow then just to protect the wound. Okay, and the baby is put onto her chest. Right? Okay. Actually, when the baby, when you put the baby on your bare chest, the baby can already smell
the milk.
Because there's a beacon.
Okay.
There's a beacon.
Right.
Okay. The smell, and
the hormone that you release also acts as a beacon for the baby. They know what to do, and they will immediately
they can find it
instinctively move towards the beacon.
And then you will be surprised if you just leave the baby there, and the baby will move herself to that smell and the nipple and the areola, because it's the most prominent feature there, because it's darker.
It's darker.
Okay.
Right. Okay. And she will try to move to the nipple and latch the the nipple to the breast herself.
Yep.
Okay. But how do we make sure that it doesn't move around and you know, with
then
all
we
these
just
things?
like lift up the head and flop it.
Right.
Yeah, bobbing.
Right.
All right. Even in the normal like this, you can actually see that even how big is the nose won't be blocked.
Okay,
because it's not actually directly suffocating the nose.
Okay. Right.
Because when the baby is latched on to the breast, they touch with the chin first.
Right.
Chin first, and it's like that.
So
the
there will
top bit
be like space
free.
there
I see.
for the nose
To
for the
breathe.
baby to breathe.
Now, what's important is that you say, yeah, we'll be worried that the baby is going to suffocate. So that's where the mother has to be observe the baby, and she's always have to look like you're not like putting the baby on and look somewhere else and do something else or go on Facebook or whatever and not paying attention to the baby. So the mother has to observe the baby. So if you're looking at the baby sort of struggling or gasping for air, then obviously you need to adjust your position. Yeah.
What about breastfeeding sideways? I've seen mothers doing that. Is that okay as well?
That is very okay.
Especially for mothers, like I said before, after C-section, and eventually when at night, sometimes we mothers
are
so
tired to just hold on to the baby.
Yes. Side lying position is one of the ways to do it. But bear in mind that you shouldn't be doing it when you are on medication. The mother is on medication, for example, flu medication or cough medication. Or the parents are smoking on the bed, because that can be dangerous for the baby.
Because when you're lying down, you have a tendency to sleep, and you don't realize that you can't observe your baby if you're asleep, right? So then that's when that happens. The risk of the baby suffocating. That happens, especially for larger
breasts,
well-endowed women.
So that should be one of concerns if you start to breastfeed while you're laying down on the side. So those are the 3 techniques that we can do with the baby.
You can even hold the baby in a football hold, which is very interesting. If you are a football player, you would know this. Gosh, so all mothers are football players, okay? So you can hold the baby like this,
with one hand.
Yeah, so you've got pillows popped up here, okay, and then you can actually do it this way. So if you've got twins, you feed your baby one here, one here. That's why we have 2, Sue. So
just in case you have another one.
But we have advised mothers who've got triplets. So they've got to take turns.
Obviously.
Yeah, so 1, 2, another one has to park somewhere and wait for their turn, come.
And by the time it's the other person's time, the other one gets hungry.
Yeah, you actually have stickers for them. Now, I'm just saying that if you've got twins, this is how you hold your baby.
So you can breastfeed them at the same time?
Yes.
Oh, wow.
You are recommended to simultaneously do it, because otherwise you will not get a break. You will not rest, because one after another, all you do is breastfeed. So this is one way. So this is a football hold. This is what we call a cradle hold. And there's a thing that we call cross cradle, where you use your other hand, and this hand you use to actually do compression to the breast to actually allow the milk transfer to have more effective milk transfer.
I see.
Yeah, and the other one is lying down. So there's 4 common
ways to do to breastfeed your child. Right.
But when you have toddler, they can just come to you in any position
they
will come from up here.
From here.
But is it okay for them? Do they have to have proper ways to do it, or they can just do it or however they want to?
Experienced already. They know how to get a good latch in whichever position they want it.
So what should a mother do? They just have to sit down and just let the toddler start.
It's called self-service.
So they can do wherever they want to do. We have to go for another short break, and when we come back, we'll talk more on breastfeeding. It's so interesting right here on Hello Malaysia. And welcome back to Hello Malaysia with me, Dr. Ezura and Rita, and we are talking about breastfeeding. We've just shown techniques of breastfeeding right before we went for a break. Now we want to talk about issues on breastfeeding. Let's talk from the very beginning. We've talked about, if you don't see any development of your breast while you are pregnant, and you consult doctors and things like that. Now, once you deliver the baby, by naturally you should be lactating immediately. That's what they said. But what if you notice that nothing is coming out from your breasts, but your breast is all fully developed, things like that, okay, but nothing is coming out from the breast? What is happening and what should one mother do?
All right. Okay. Yeah, especially for first-time mothers, when they don't have any experience, right? Okay, after the birth of the baby, when the placenta is released, right? That is when the lactating hormone kicks in.
Okay.
Yeah. Right. Okay. Usually for the first 3 or 4 days, the mother won't see the white milk, which is the mature milk.
Okay.
Okay. This is when the first 3-4 days the colostrum will come in.
Okay.
The liquid gold will come in.
Right.
It is a clear, sticky discharge.
Okay.
Right. Sometimes the mother might not realize that it is there.
It's part of the milk, actually. Okay.
Okay, but when the baby latches onto the mums, the baby is actually sucking very well.
Okay.
And doing his hard work to suck and to breastfeed very well.
Right.
But the mother will always say to you, there's no milk.
Right.
Because there's no
they don't see milk,
Yes.
you know, like white milk.
Trickling.
Nothing coming out from the breast. Okay. And they get worried.
Yeah, they get worried. Okay.
They shouldn't, because when the baby is, when a newborn baby's stomach capacity is only the size of a cherry.
Really? That's small?
That's
Okay.
small.
But the way sometimes they drink, it's like they're having like a tank full of tummy.
That's where we're going to explain, right?
Okay.
Like, that's why colostrum is perfect, because it comes in small quantities, which is able to fulfill the baby's demand. So you don't really need to be feeding them like 2 ounces
of milk.
Usually they will need about like 5 ml per feeding for the first day.
Right.
Probably then the size of the stomach increase to the size of a ping pong ball, and on the second day, and then a size of an egg on the third day. Yeah, it's very small capacity of the baby's stomach.
Okay. So back to the problem when they notice that no milk is coming out. So what should they? Obviously, they should not be worried. Okay, but what else can they do to make sure that they're producing milk?
You should look at the babies. The baby's cues. Right, when the baby wants to breastfeed or when the baby is hungry, they will show some sort of cues. Right? Like moving their hands, smacking their lips. Right, that is when they want to really breastfeed. Okay, so you put the baby to the breast. The baby is doing a wonderful work of sucking and breastfeeding. Yeah, and sometimes after a while, you will see that the baby just contented and satisfied.
Right.
And then an hour later or 2 hours later, the baby
There's
starts the
feeding.
cue. Yeah.
Okay.
Right.
And they go through the cycle because breast milk is easily digested.
Okay.
It's the bioavailability of breast milk is perfect. It's perfect, the perfect food for the baby.
Right.
So because it's easily digested, therefore the baby will get hungry faster.
Right.
But they say a lot of people will say that, like if you feed
cukup susu.
cukup susu ni, asyik nak
Ah,
bangun
yeah,
nak susu.
My mother, I remember when my sister delivered my niece and things like that. My niece kept on, she wanted some milk, more milk. So my mother said, she's not having enough milk. Give her milk from, susu, whatever.
So that's the misconception of breastfeeding. So of breastfeeding.
Okay.
So having said that, the other thing that you have to realize is that babies, what comes in must come out. Right. So if the baby is really not getting enough, so technically the baby should not be.
There's no poop.
There's no pee. There's no poop.
Yeah.
So you have to watch out for where the baby is having for the first few weeks, like 6 to 8 wet diapers. And what is an indication of a wet diaper? It's like 3 tablespoons of water dropped on a diaper, and that's a wet diaper. Okay. You're not talking about
like
soaked
wet diaper.
No.
Okay.
So 3 tablespoons of water, that is an indication of a wet diaper. So 6 to 8, right? And then at least 3 dirty diapers
in a day.
Yeah.
Okay.
But then that changes over time because that's for the first few weeks. But then later on, as they regulate and as the baby as they develop, the frequency of the dirty diapers starts to reduce. In fact, there's even a case you will even see that they don't have a dirty diaper for
2 weeks.
Really?
Up to 10 days.
Yeah.
Because the beauty of breast milk is that it's so perfect.
Right.
That
It
it absorbs. It's like a sponge. You know, the body just takes it, and there's nothing to dump.
Right.
Yes.
Okay, it's pure. And people told me that breast milk tastes a little bit sweet. I've never tasted breast milk before, but that's what they said.
Actually, it depends. It depends on what the mother eats as well.
Okay.
Yeah. Right.
Right.
It changes.
It changes
depending on what you eat.
Yeah.
Okay.
The taste, I mean. So you see the uniqueness of
the breast milk.
Yes.
So
it changes, like we
that
were
means
saying.
I need to eat healthily in order for my baby to be healthy.
Yeah, you have to. Everybody should eat healthy,
Okay.
not just mothers
Right.
in general. But basically, when we say, you know, you don't have to worry too much about the quality of your breast milk because, like we said, you know, it's perfect. No matter what you eat, even if you're malnourished, the body will still produce perfect milk.
Right, it
for
will
your
never
baby.
be malnourished.
It will be in the right composition.
Right.
Because
But mothers will be malnourished.
mothers will be, but
yes,
the baby's milk will be protected and
pure,
will be
perfect for the
and-
baby.
Yes.
Okay, so moving on from there now. Okay, let's say they can produce the milk and things like that. Then they will have this, like you mentioned, the not latching correctly, and they have this cracks and things like that. And I have friends who be telling me, like, you know, I cried whenever I breastfeed, and that scares me. Okay, you know, it really scares me.
Yes.
So what is the problem with that?
Right.
There are issues. It could be a mother, because the issues can be a mother issue or a baby issue.
Okay.
And that's where, when they are in trouble and when they realize that they're having this problem, the first thing they should go do is go get help.
Okay.
Which is
From
what
the
we do.
lactation.
Yes.
Yeah.
They can get help from a lactation consultant. They can get help from the peer counselors, breastfeeding peer counselors, or even healthcare professionals, the nurses, the midwives at the healthcare clinics, or even the doctors.
Right.
Yeah. Right. And usually we need to check both the baby and the mother.
Okay.
Okay. Sometimes the problem might be from the baby.
Okay.
The baby might have tongue tie that can make the baby very difficult to latch on.
Okay.
And
a
get
tongue tie is like where, you know, underneath your tongue you've got that little tight
that's
frenulum.
yes.
So that actually, if you've got a tight frenulum, it actually doesn't allow the baby to extend the tongue out enough. So the baby is not able to latch.
Okay, right. So that will be a problem as well.
That is the cause, one of the main causes, I would say, of the injury to the nipple for mothers.
Right.
Yeah, but that's a bit rare.
Okay.
Yeah.
So once they get this kind of injury, what should they do? Should they put some medication, things like that?
It depends on the cases.
Okay.
Usually, we need to advise the mothers based on the individual basis.
Problems.
We fix the technique first. We fix their technique first.
Right. If it doesn't resolve it, so we change it to other methods.
We try to fix. We assess the situation, see whether it's the
baby or the mother's problem. Yeah.
Because sometimes mothers have what we call a short nipple or a flat nipple, so you know, so that becomes a mother issue. But then if it's a mother and baby issue, then yes, basically you need to work with your healthcare provider, your lactation consultant, or your counselor, or your doctor. But if that happens, and if the mother is experiencing soreness, there are ways to actually, you know, to help that.
Okay.
Basically, you can apply creams, and there are also natural remedies for you to do as well.
Okay.
Like a tea bag, you know, like that. Those are natural things that you can get in the house.
Right.
And you can apply it to the sore area, and you can get like a cold pack to actually reduce the pain as well.
Right.
Yeah, there are many things that you can do.
Right, to resolve the matter.
To resolve the matter, yeah.
Okay.
But you need to get help. That's the most important thing.
Right. We have to go for another short break, and when we come back, we'll talk more on breastfeeding right here on Hello Malaysia. Stay tuned. Welcome back to Hello Malaysia with me, Sue, Rita, and also Dr. Ezura, and we're talking about breastfeeding. Now, talking about breastfeeding, especially for mothers who are working, it's not easy. You know, I can hear from all my friends. It's not. I cannot breastfeed because I'm working. You know, so I've stopped breastfeeding. It's all bottled now, and apparently that's not good, right, Dr. Ezura?
Actually, you need if a mother is capable to continue breastfeeding while working.
Okay.
as I mentioned before, as recommended by WHO and UNICEF, yes, you need to continue up to 2 years and beyond.
Okay.
But sometimes, due to the mother's circumstances, it is difficult for them to juggle between work and also breastfeeding.
Especially when you don't have a specific timing for work. Sometimes you come back late or you go very early in the morning.
Yes, exactly.
So how do, mothers out there, they compensate this kind of situation?
Let's just put it this way, Sue. I mean, like, every single mother experiences different sets of challenges. We're all different, and we all have different jobs, which are, some are demanding, some are part-time. So you have to, I always tell the mothers that come to our centre for consultation, they say, I feel like a failure because I can't breastfeed.
Breastfeed, yes.
And you shouldn't be feeling that way, because you see, breastfeeding is not an all or nothing. Some breastfeeding is still better than none at all.
Nothing.
So you make do, and you have to manage it somehow. So if you're working, and if you're a full-time working mom and you're working 9 to 5, you have to plan ahead. Like before you actually start working, you need to have some stock of express breast milk. You have to start stocking up before you start. You need to speak to your employer whether you're allowed nursing breaks, which is time for you to express your milk. But if you don't get it, it's not a problem, because you can always use your lunchtime and your prayer times, because you still need breaks for prayer for the Muslims, right? But even then, I'm sure, because you have to understand that you are protected under the Maternal Protection Act, and it is your right to get those nursing breaks from your employer.
I see.
The challenge will be if the mother is working as frontliners, if you're working with customer service or in the health
department, like yourself, Dr. Ezura.
And you're in the middle of an operation.
You can't just stop and start. What would you recommend?
Right. First of all, you need to talk to your boss. As for me, as a healthcare worker, I need to talk to my boss, telling that I'm still breastfeeding. I need some
time
out. For about 20 minutes to just express my milk in between. Okay. So you talk to your colleagues so that they understand.
So when sometimes you went missing for some time.
Actually, in the
you have to be professional about it.
Actually, in the hospitals or in the healthcare clinics, they should support. They should support their staff to breastfeed. Because it's their business actually. We want the mother to breastfeed. We want the mother to breastfeed when they return to work. You need to support your staff as well.
I see.
So far, there are many challenges. There are many young doctors, nurses who have challenges. Not be able to have
commit
their
to breastfeeding,
to have their pumping breaks, and then to continue breastfeeding up to the desired time. But somehow, like Rita said, some breastfeeding is better than nothing at all.
You shouldn't feel guilty, because
most of them will feel guilty.
Because it's a natural thing. We mothers, we always feel that way. But you have to realize that you are a mother to your baby, and you are a good mother. And no one should define you, whether you're successful or you're a failure, because you define your own success. So you know that, circumstances are such that it's very challenging. If you think there are ways to manage, and if they come to us, we actually advise them. We look at their schedule and we tell them, you can do this, you can do that.
Can you give us a general schedule? Example. How can they manage themselves?
So like for a mother who gets a nursing break, we actually tell them, you negotiate with your employer, and they get about 20 minutes a day
off.
So that 20 minutes is something that maybe they need to make up for. So maybe if it's a 9 to 5 job, you might need to go back at 5:30 to make up for that. So what you do is, like, every nursing break should be at most, I would say, not longer than, it shouldn't be longer than, you only have 20 minutes, so it's like 10 minutes each. And people say 10 minutes. There are some mothers who spend more than 10 minutes.
They do. I've seen.
Now that, Sue, is where we come to the point of techniques. There's relaxation techniques, because you see, when it comes to expressing your milk, it's not about the time. It's about the quality of your pumping session. So you need to ensure that when you're expressing your milk, you need to be relaxed. If you're stressed out and your mind is somewhere
else, still at work, still at my desk,
or you're expressing your milk and this is what you do, you're like
looking at the milk,
how much?
No, it's like, oh no, my meeting is in 10 minutes, and then you've got a show, I've got to go on
to do
I've
some
got to go
work.
live, but basically you have to really control yourself because it's all in the mind. You have to really use that 10 minutes wisely because that's all you've got, and relax. Do breathing techniques, you know,
before you start pumping.
Yes, relaxation techniques, and we have this whole list of what you can do. Yes, and we give it to the mother, and they're like, oh, it works.
It works.
Okay. Sometimes it's beneficial for the mother to, you know, all of us have smartphone now. We record our
songs,
our baby's voice.
Songs as well works, like relaxation ones.
And when about to pump the milk, we play the video of our baby.
Right. So it's
that will stimulate the milk production.
Triggers the there's the, you see, prolactin is the hormone that produces milk, but there's the oxytocin hormone that ejects the milk out from the breast. Now what we're trying to achieve every time you're expressing your milk is the milk ejection reflex. So if you're not relaxed, you're stressed, you're sad, you're you know, you're angry, whatever, all that affects the oxytocin hormone and it suppresses it.
So you can't have
have that ejection reflex. So the milk's not coming out. It's there, but it's not coming out.
But I think that should be working. Looking at your baby's video
or photos.
So that would naturally, you know, make yourself
it does, because you see when a mother actually hears, like for example, a crying baby, you will hear immediately. Oh, why do I feel like my breast is leaking? Because I hear another baby crying. It's not even my baby. So that's oxytocin kicking in. So your body is responding, reacting to that.
Okay.
So it's perfect.
Okay, right. We are at the end of the show. So what would you, we'll start with Dr. Ezura, what would you like to advise mothers out there?
Right, okay, happy breastfeeding, World Breastfeeding Week, first of all. And breastfeeding is a learned art, I would say, right? The preparation starts before the delivery of the baby. So when you're pregnant, try to get as much information, attend classes for breastfeeding, And then when you have difficulties and trouble during your breastfeeding days, don't hesitate to get help.
Don't shy away.
Yes. And then some of us mothers at the workplace, all the breastfeeding mothers will gather together during pumping session and discuss, oh, what is this? And why is my milk like this? I mean, that actually is a support group.
I see. Find a support group at work if you can. Right, okay. And from Rita.
Right, so yes, happy World Breastfeeding Week to everyone.
Okay.
And just to echo what Ezura mentioned just now, while you are, you know, happily together with your friends,
other mothers,
it's important for you not to compare yourself as in output wise. You know, if you look at your friends, like how come she's getting 10 ounces of milk and I'm getting like this much? Don't compare and don't worry, because the amount that you produce is sufficient for your baby. So it's all perfect.
So there's no standard amount?
No, there's no standard amount. So you shouldn't be getting 10 all the time, you know. So it varies. It fluctuates. And breastfeeding, like parenting, it's a journey. You should experience it as you move along, and you are the person that defines your own success, and you are a mother. That's the most beautiful thing
about this, and a bonding session with your child. Okay, right. Thank you so much, Dr. Ezura and Rita, for explaining to us about breastfeeding, and thank you so much for tuning in to Hello Malaysia. And until we meet again real soon, I'm Surati Sanusi. Goodbye.